Coffee Talk, one of my favorite new segments because, well, it requires very little effort. Actually, there's a crazy amount of stuff set up here, and it got me really excited, which I haven't felt in a long time, but that's not what I'll talk to you guys about today. Now, let's talk about the coffee real quick, because we might as well give an honorable mention to Trader Joe's. It's pre-ground light roast coffee, because I'm going to put a bunch of junk in it anyway. I'm putting coconut, palm sugar, MCT oil, and some protein in there. But let's first wet our filter. Where's my wet cup? There it is. Wet our filter to make sure we wash away all of the paper taste. Not that it really matters, because the coffee we're drinking is probably not going to taste like much anyway. Once that is done, we can place that on there. We're going to put 30 grams of coffee. This is my recipe for bad-ish coffee that's pre-ground and pretty coarse already. So 30 grams of coffee for this one, because it just doesn't taste like much. There we go. It says 29. We'll go with 29. Precision is important. That's why I have a scale, 29.2. But again, with this, it's not going to matter. And we're going to start our first thing off, which is the bloom to release the gas, which this coffee doesn't have any. And we're going to get after our story. So imagine it's the beginning of 2020, and you are sent home. You're sent home from work. You are told you need to go home because you are the world's going crazy and a lot of things are happening, and we're going to figure out what to do with our business. At the time, I worked for Apple, one of the biggest companies of all time, and I will tell you, they took care of me, but for a month or two, they literally had no clue what to do. They just said, we'll figure it out, just stay at home because that's what you're supposed to do, and we'll just keep paying you. They paid us to stay home, which is pretty great, but also really, really, really scary, because that told me something. That told me that one of the most secure things I could have, which is a job with a huge, giant corporate company, was still not the most safe thing that I could do, and I have zero control over the situation. Not only that, but I couldn't have even predicted what was going to happen. And that was terrifying, especially as someone who just had a kid. We had a beautiful, beautiful daughter. Well, at the time, I didn't have a kid. My wife was pregnant, so I was going to have a kid. And I'm like, holy cow, I need to make sure that I can pay for stuff. And if this is happening and I had no control over the situation, and I have no control over the future of the situation, this is terrifying. And at the time, I was at home watching a lot of YouTube and playing a lot of video games, and I stumbled across a video. And the video was basically how to make money on YouTube in 3 easy steps. And one was just teach someone something. Another one is know a little bit more than the person behind you. And the last step was be consistent. It was essentially those words extrapolated and turned into like a 15-minute video. And then at the end was a challenge. Join us for our 1-week influencer challenge, where we will teach you how to do this effectively without wasting your time. And at that time, I had been wrestling with this creator complex, because I had made probably 100 vlogs. They got nowhere. My channel was at 69 subscribers, and I wanted nothing more than to be a YouTuber. I wanted to do YouTube things. It was like a dream of mine, but over the years prior, nothing manifested from it. In fact, it was a lot more heartache and a waste of money, because I had spent so much money on gear and nothing came of it. Well, I started that 1-week challenge, and at the end of it, they really give you a hard sell to buy their program for $1,000, but they can break it up into monthly payments. And that's when I looked at my wife and I said, hey, I have made a media company. I can make this media company pay for it eventually, but can I invest in myself and do this? She said, of course. We're locked up. You're working at Apple. You're coaching at a CrossFit gym. You got time on your hands, so now's the time if ever. We're going to have a kid, so it'd be nice to have a little bit extra income. And so the first thing that they really challenge you to do is to just pick a niche and get after it. Make your first video. They're going to be bad, so just go. So I took my channel with 100 plus videos, and I completely unlisted all my videos. They still exist, but I unlisted them. And I posted my first video. And that first video was essentially me talking about how I was going to make a tech channel about gaming. In this room that you guys are used to seeing, that we're not in right now because it's a bedroom for my brother, he was actually there. He was there at the time. He was in one of my videos about playing video games. I think he was in that video, that very video. And it was my first step It got barely any views. I started streaming early in the mornings because my wife was working from home, and I just kept being consistent. And gosh darn it in a half, guess what happened? 36,000 subscribers later. In fact, in the year of 2021, I started right there at the beginning in February. And by the end, I had 30,000 subscribers. Incredible. Incredible. But something crazy happened. And that was what usually happens to me, and as I got bored. And this is where the problem started, and this is where we're getting to today. So, again, remember, everything was falling apart. I was terrified. How can I make money? Here's a way to make money at home. And then it happened. I mean, you tell me. Is that something that you would have gotten super crazy attached to and like, let's run with this, regardless of how I feel right now? This is awesome. It was a new feeling. Think about it for a second. Start typing while I explain to you the next step of our coffee. So I'm taking coconut palm sugar because it's a natural sweetener used, and this natural sweetener, it is sugar. There is calories, or are calories. Put about 1 tablespoon worth in there. This natural sweetener, actually that was half a tablespoon, reacts in your body the same as like if you took a bite out of a banana. So fructose, right? And that is the sugar that comes from fruit. And that actually is better for your insulin levels because you won't get all tired and have that crash as much, in moderation of course, because your body actually has been designed to properly digest and properly utilize the sugars that come from that specific source versus refined sugars and other stuff like that. I don't like using fake sugars because they taste terrible. They taste absolutely awful. I like using alternative sugars that actually have sugar in them. And then I put this is collagen. I actually have a company I work with, Bubs. That's not their collagen because I had some extra. These guys who make also MCT oil powder, which is medium chain triglycerides. This is energy. This helps with your focus. It gives you kind of that alertness that you would want without you getting that crazy buzz from the caffeine, even though there is some caffeine in this coffee. It's barely any. And this is my super coffee. This makes me feel good and tasty. And I'm mixing it up so that everything dissolves. And we are good to drink in my #1 dad mug. So back to the story. So here we are. We're at the end of 2021. We've amassed 30,000 subscribers. I am making video game content. I'm getting free product. I'm getting video game consoles, games. I'm playing. I've met people. I made a Discord. I stream on a regular basis. People are giving me super chats. I am living the dream, kind of. It's not making that much money. I think at the end of December, I made $1,400 in that month, which is really normal for December because consumer electronics are exploding in the November, December time because of Christmas. And then the year turned over and I realized something. I realized that I had been climbing a mountain because that's what it is. This is a crazy mountain. And I've been climbing this mountain and working super hard. I had my footholds in. I kept going and going and going. I got to my first peak and there was a valley. A pretty massive valley, actually, that I had to go down before I could go up the next peak. And I've been in this valley for the past 8 months. But what ended up happening is when I stood upon the first pinnacle, that December pinnacle, I looked out and I realized I've been climbing the wrong mountain this whole time. And I've been trying to reason with myself. I've been changing the name, changing the content strategy, changing everything to make it easier for myself so I just wouldn't quit. And then I did quit. And I finally realized how I could articulate this properly. I, at my core, am a creator. I love making content. I found a way to make content quickly, effectively, and able to monetize that content. I was really, really rapidly rewarded because the content was good enough to pick up views and companies wanted to send stuff my way. And I was bound by the golden handcuffs, which essentially is you're stuck in a niche because it's working for your channel, but you may not necessarily be a fan of it. When it comes to video games, it's something I've done my whole life. I love video games. I play video games all the time with my brother and in my pastime. But what I don't do is I don't live video games. I like playing them. I'm an enthusiast at best, but I don't need them. What I do need, and I didn't realize this until just recently, is I do need an aspect of my life which I will never give up. I will give up absolutely everything to maintain this specific aspect of my life. And that is personal development through fitness. I am someone who's been a CrossFit coach for almost 10 years. I've been doing CrossFit for about 11 now. CrossFit isn't necessarily the only thing that I care about as far as fitness. It's just my chosen avenue of fitness. I enjoy it, but I love all avenues of fitness. In fact, I am someone who spends the majority of my time investigating and learning everything I can about different fitness avenues because I'm obsessed with health and wellness. And to think that I have been missing that for these past year, that I have been obsessing over the wrong thing, almost makes me want to kick myself. But as many people have said, dude, do what you love, the rest will follow. I have to listen to my heart. So the update, as it stands, if you're still with me, is that this channel is gone back and forth between my name, not my name, is back to my name because I do think that this is the best name for it, which is me and what I'm doing. But as I move forward, I want to get back to what I actually truly love, and it's telling stories. And right now, the only story that I have to tell is my own. And my current story is that I am a very, very active health and wellness instructor, also known as CrossFit coach in my specific realm, but it's bigger than that. I don't just do that. I am currently training to be competitive in that, and that is taking the forefront in a lot of things I do. I'm a father, and that is the number one most important thing to me, aside from potentially being a husband, but both my wife and I go back and forth on which one we think is more. Husband, father, wife, mother, I think it's interchangeable. And those things are the most important things to me. Video games are things I do, and it was fun, and I really enjoy it. And they do and will still be a part of this channel. But the focus of this channel moving forward is going to be this story. The story of myself in trying to get as many people as possible motivated through different avenues of that, whether it's talking about things that I struggle with and going forward with that, or talking about things that we could all move forward on and just having conversations, because that is the most important thing here, is to continue the conversation. So again, moving forward, I really, really don't think there's going to be many, if any, reviews anymore. The video game content as it stands will continue as a nuance. All streams will be pushed either to Twitch or my Yo Julian streaming channel, but I'm going to tone it back because I want to focus on what matters to me, and it's telling my story to you guys as it develops over these next years. I'm excited for this competitive side of myself that I gave up years ago, that I'm rediscovering. I'm excited for the conversations we'll have, and I'm excited for the next step. If this is something you're absolutely and utterly just, no, I don't want anything to do with this, I just want to hear your reviews, I'm sorry. They're not going to be there anymore. So go ahead and unsubscribe. I'm not offended at all. If you're in for the ride, heck yeah, brother. Keep it going, because I'm going to help people get fit, whatever it may be. But right now, just let me tell my story. That's all I want to do. All right, guys, thank you so much for the support. This was long-winded, and if you're still with me, at the end right now, just say, put the number 743182. Yeah. What is that? I don't know. I just made it up. 743182. If you put 743182, you're one of the OGs. All right, guys. Love y'all. Take it easy.